What's up, everybody? I'm back now. I've been actually on vacation for the last week, still wrapping it up right now. And as I've been on vacation, I've been spending a lot of time thinking about my business and kind of my expansion strategy. I'm always contemplating that, but as I've had some time to reflect here, um, I was just really thinking about how now is such an important time to expand the business and for me personally to go into hyperdrive. Um, the reason being why right now is such a fantastic time to expand or start your Airbnb business if you have not already done so. And the main catalyst behind it, what I see is already right now, you have travel has picked up coming out of COVID. Obviously, we're still in it, and there's variants and all that sort of stuff. But in general, I don't think there's an appetite for the public to go back fully into lockdowns, not travel, etc. So I've already been seeing it, and I'm seeing it currently where travel has picked up a lot. Rates are way up through the roof. I'm making more money than I ever have, highest rates I've ever had on a nightly basis. And the crazy thing is, we have not even really seen any European travelers. So this is all domestic travelers. Some really seen, I've had a trickle of a couple Canadians, etc., but we haven't seen any European travelers, no travelers from Australia, nothing like that. And those were typically before in pre-COVID times, those were 50 to 60% of my travelers. And quite honestly, they paid higher rates. And even, I say this, even as a proud American, they are better guests than local domestic guests. I don't know the reasoning behind it. I'm not one to get into it. I don't really care. If penguins were my best guess, I would go with that, and that's what I would be looking for. But I can say this, they generally will keep the property in better shape. They party less in the property. And if they do party, they at least clean up after themselves and they're less liable to get complaints from neighbors, smoking inside the house, this sort of thing. I don't know if it's a cultural thing. Again, like I said, that's not for me to judge, but I will just say that they are better guests. They can also afford your properties better because they generally have better exchange rates. I mean, the euro is, you need about $1.20 to get you €1. So they're exchanging down into the dollar. They're getting, they're getting more dollars for their euros, and they're able to then pay, assuming you're renting here in the United States, they're able to pay a higher dollar amount on the rentals. So while with other countries where they're trading into the currency, you have a smaller segment of the population is actually able to afford the properties because exchanging into the dollar for countries from South America, for instance, you're only going to be able to have the wealthy, the upper echelon, the upper class of people that are able to afford, in most cases, at least in my case, afford your properties. But either way, whatever price point you're at, that's going to be the same thing. Versus when you have Europeans that are trading into the dollar, their dollar goes a further way, their dollar goes longer, and they're able to have more of them are able to afford it. In simple terms, you have middle class is able to afford even borderline luxury properties here in the United States versus let's say guests coming from South America. You're going to need upper class that is staying in even a, let's call it, middle of the road Airbnb here, just because of the exchange rate. So that to me is one of those things that I'm looking at. I'm like, I'm already making money through the roof right now this summer, and travel hasn't even picked up in terms of it on a worldwide stage. So when that comes in, whether that is now in the fall, in the winter, or even next summer, this tells me and gets me excited about why I need to expand my portfolio heavy right now. And I'm going to go all in right now. When I get back, I'm going to try to get as many properties as I can and capitalize that on into the future. And the second big catalyst, and the reason why now is an amazing time, and why I pound the table to my friends and family as to why they should start their Airbnb business if they already haven't, because many of them have as a result of me pushing them in that direction, is the fact that, like it or not, whatever you got going on with the government, they are printing money like there's no tomorrow. And I was just looking at the numbers. The personal savings rate of Americans is at basically an all-time high. It's definitely at a high in the last 5 to 10 years. So you have people that are actually coming out of this pandemic with more money than they had. In many cases, you still have, not to discount the people that are struggling. You know, many of you may be struggling, you know, coming out of the coronavirus and the economic ramifications, of course. But across the population as a whole, the savings rate is as high as it's been in recent memory. And a large part of that is, you know, stimulus. You have government stimulus that's been heavy. You also have, I think, this hasn't really been widely reported, at least I haven't seen it that way, but I have to think that the rent moratorium that, you know, people were able to not pay their rent and not get evicted for it, that for most people is the biggest expense that they have, and they didn't have to pay that. So that money basically went into their pocket, assuming they were still getting money. So they're getting stimulus, maybe still working and getting stimulus at the same time, maybe working cash, whatever it was, getting unemployment benefits, whatever it is, and then not having to pay rent. So that's to the detriment of the property owners, of course. That's another story. But nevertheless, you have a lot of people that have more money than they had going into the pandemic, and now they want to spend it on experiences. Travel being the number one experience that people look for. I mean, I'm on vacation now. This is my summer vacation. I'm wrapping it up now. And everybody else, especially people that didn't get out during coronavirus, now they haven't been out in a year and a half, 2 years. They are dying to get out, and that's the reason that I see, you know, rates being high, as high as they've been for myself. And, you know, it's the tip of the iceberg, because right now we are here in mid-July 2021, and we haven't even seen the worldwide travelers come to the United States yet, because they haven't really been able to. But when that rush comes and you have domestic travelers and international travelers, this thing is going to be gangbusters, and it's an opportunity to make, you know, I'm excited about it. I can't even stress, based on what I'm seeing right now and how much money I'm making right now, the amount of money that I'm going to be able to make when you have the international travelers. It's just going to be crazy. So again, I'm pounding the table to you guys. I'm pounding the table to family, to friends, that if you're on the fence about whether, you know, to start your Airbnb business or expand your Airbnb business, my answer is to definitely do it. Definitely do it. I think for most people, they can, at least if you have another job, you can do it as a side hustle and get another stream of income, which is one of the most important things you can do, is have multiple streams of income to protect yourself. And other people that want to do it full time, like I do, and make that their primary business, now is the time. And the capital outlays, we'll get into that in some future videos coming up here. But the capital outlays are not that much. There are ways to do it where it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg, because again, I'm renting my properties, I'm not buying my properties, and I'm able to capture that rental arbitrage. So if you like this video, please hit like, subscribe, and I will be back in the future with many more videos, coming up with one already next week.